I think we're ready to call the meeting to order. Can we start with our attendance, please?
Urban,
Here.
Faber,
Baber's here.
Carter, Johnson,
Here.
Mazu,
Here.
Raber, Raziska,
Here.
Stidham.
Great. Well, we wanted to start recognizing an outgoing commissioner who has served 8 years and done wonderful service to the city and Parks and Recreation Department. So thank you, John. We're sad you're not here with us today, but I know the department wanted to share some words too.
Yeah, Madam President, Commission members, yes, John, you've been amazing. So for those that aren't aware, we, by city code, we are required to have a representative from the Boise School District represented on the Park and Recreation Commission. And as our president indicated, John has been with us for 8 years, 2 full terms of 4 years, and has been an amazing addition, John. And I know that we've had a number of school district representatives over the years, and you'll go down as certainly one of the more articulate ones we've had. It's been great having you fill in for presidents when we needed you in a pinch, and just being a good partner also overall with the department, getting us our gym times we need, getting us, hooked up with the right people within the district when we have needs. That's really your role to serve in that capacity, and we just really appreciate all the work that you've done. Brian Walker, who is currently an area director, will be moving into the athletic director position that you're retiring from. And so he'll be our new representative on the commission. We're looking forward to working with Brian, but he's got some major shoes to fill in the work that you've done for us, and your support definitely has not gone unnoticed. So we want to thank you, and we also want to present you with this plaque that you can see.
You can see it.
There we go. And it'll be waiting for you at our office in Ann Morrison Park when you get back into town. I know you're out of town helping your son over this period of time. And so anyway, just really appreciate the work you've done, and thank you for all your service to our commission and to our city.
Wow, thank you, Doug. Can you hear me okay? I'm kind of down in the hotel lobby. Okay, good. Thank you. I wish I could be there today. Like Doug said, I'm actually down in Phoenix, so I'm on the surface of the sun. It feels like it's I don't know what it is, 102 or something down here, but he just moved into a house, so I'm down here helping him move. Anyway, I just gosh, I can't believe it's been 8 years. That went so fast. But I have so enjoyed being on the commission and get to be, part of all of this. It's really been truly an honor. 8 years ago, I had, to be honest with you, I had no idea really what Boise Parks and Recreation Commission and kind of what the department did. Totally, I kind of in general, in a vague way, kind of knew what this was all about, but I really had no idea just how amazing this department is. And Doug, I just have to say it really truly has been amazing to work with you and all of your staff and the whole department. One of the things that you do well is you hire good people. You have an amazing team around you. And then I see you kind of get out of their way, let them do their job, which is really exciting to be part of. There's so many things to be proud of as being part of this commission. One of the things that I learned is just how amazing the department includes and kind of involves our city and decisions and process and input, and just getting surveys to people. And, people have no idea just how much input the department gathers when we, develop a new park or something going on at the zoo, and just so many things that we do. And so it's really been fun to be part of all of that, and to get to work with a few of our city councilmen and counselors along the way. It's really been a lot of fun. It seems like when I was president, we had a lot of public hearings. I don't know if that was by design by Doug, just making sure I was earning my salary that I make. Just kidding. We don't make any salary. I don't want somebody to think. Anyway, it's really been a lot of fun. I can tell you, I get to work with so many people in the department, all the way down to, the maintenance guys in the parks, to the swimming department, tennis. Oh my gosh, so much more. All the adult leagues that we do in the gyms. So much of the staff. I could reel off. I bet I get to work with close to 12 to 15 people in a year. There's just so much going on between the community centers that we're so proud of in the district, and kind of our relationship with the city, and just so much more. So much that we share really makes all of this a lot of fun to be part of. So for a guy that just moved down here from Grainsville years ago, went to school, and then got to hang out with all you cool people, it's really been a humbling experience. And so, yeah, Brian Walker will be there in July. He's a better looking guy than me, and he's smarter, but he's not a better athlete. So I don't want you guys to go that far to say he's a better athlete than me. But nonetheless, Doug, thank you for everything. And I hope to see all of you soon. I'll drop by the office when I get back into town. And anyway, thanks for letting me just say a few things, and surely going to miss everybody around the table. And I hope to see all you guys soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor to serve together.
Madam President,
Please.
if you don't mind, I might just talk one comment. John, I don't think you can see me. This is Jimmy Halliburton. I'm over here in the corner somewhere. It's interesting to be in this perspective as a council member, because we actually are getting paid a little bit to be here. But to see the volunteer service that everybody does and the way that they contribute to the community, I think is so special. And especially in this department, because when you're done, you get to point to things that you were a part of. I was a part of approving this park. I was a part of helping this fountain go in. I made this space available for dogs that wasn't available for dogs before. And so that you get to actually point to very tangible things that you've done. But that's not actually what makes this department so special. It's all the intangible things that happen in those parks that you don't see. The experiences that happen that none of us will ever know about, that you'll never know about. All the kids who got to go and play, who have a park next to high school that used to be the principal at over at Capitol High. All the experiences that add up to this collective experience of Boise is truly what makes all those things so special. And so I want to thank you for your volunteer service here. It really does mean so much, I think, to everyone in Boise, and certainly a lot to the council. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you're so right. And just kind of on a note, I hope I don't have to show up to a meeting and testify if we're putting in a park, but we don't put in a water feature. I'll be we always get to have that water feature as part of a park. But thank you very much, Counselor. I appreciate that. Thank you for your words.
We look forward to your future testimony. Thank you. Okay, if we can move on to our new business. The first item is the minutes and approval of the May 15th minutes. If there's a motion.
I move we approve the May 15th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. The next item on our agenda is the Float the Boise Partnership Launch and Communications Update, which I believe we have a presentation from staff and Superintendent Shelton.
Wow, I never hear my title like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, very fancy. Yes, I'm Bonnie Shelton, Communications and Marketing Superintendent. Weather's heating up. We're getting a lot of questions about the river, and we've kind of switched things up a little bit this year with communications and marketing related to this partnership. So I wanted to give you guys just a preview of what we've been doing. You may have seen it in the news already, and I know the council members here have seen portions of this presentation. So we'll keep it quick, but just want you to know the resources we put together so you can help share that with the community. So just some background to start, there are three basically lead agencies that have portions of the Float the Boise River experience that you're familiar with, from Barber Park to Ann Morrison. Ada County Parks and Waterways oversees Barber Park, and they hold the contract for the rental services that you experience there along with the shuttles. We have Boise Parks and Recreation obviously oversee the takeout at Ann Morrison and the coordination of everything that happens there. And then Boise Fire obviously responds to calls that happen on the Boise River, and then they're very involved with mitigation that happens along the river, removal of hazards like branches and trees before the float season starts and all throughout the season as well, along with some help from our community forestry unit. So we all kind of work together on those different pieces. In the past, we were all kind of communicating about the things that we oversaw, and from a user perspective or a resident perspective, it could be hard to know who to go to for information about rentals versus once I get done with my float, and it just was kind of clunky. And so we all got together at the end of last season when we saw the busiest season we've ever had on the Boise River, with a lot of feedback, a lot of rescues. The water was high for quite a long time last year, and decided there's got to be a better way to do this where we can all be aligned and share consistent, recognizable, and official information. So you'll see the logo there. We created this official Float the Boise partnership and really unified way of talking to the public about what they'll experience, whether you've been floating the Boise for 30 plus years or you're just in town for the weekend and it's something that you want to check off your summer bucket list. The main kind of resource that was created, I'm going to drive and talk, so we'll see how this goes. Was this brand new website, and Joanna Zibble, who works for Boise Fire, along with our Chloe Salabanks, who you've probably worked with through the department if you've been here a while, really spent the winter creating this awesome tool that has everything that you would need to know if you're going to float. I'm going to show you just a couple things today, but I'd encourage you to go check it out and really use it as a resource throughout the season. But this interactive map uses GIS and is super cool, and it has allowed us to track all of the hazards that you'll encounter along the Boise River, and it's very intuitive. So if something were to change on a dime in the water and the dive team notices that, they can literally be on the bank and updating this map, and then we can communicate it out to the community as needed. This is a brand new tool, so we'll be testing it out through this year, but the goal is really through this map and then also the guided tour to give people visuals of what they'll encounter before they even get in the water. So we've been updating it with pictures of all the rapids that you'll encounter, some of the really well-known S-curves or areas where you need to paddle away from the banks, just trying to make it very easy for us to communicate to even the lowest level user who's never been to Boise before what they'll experience, and then try to just increase safety for this really popular activity. Go back to my slides. This is just to show you, we created this with, phone use in mind. So we're anticipating a lot of people will be physically in parks when they're looking up using the QR code. We're going to have new signage and all of that good stuff, which you'll see in a little bit, but really just trying to make it a user-friendly experience that each year we can iterate on and just make it that much more useful to everyone that's going to hit the water. So as far as communications tools and channels, we have the floattheboise.org website. Ada County for a long time has managed a Facebook page, also called Float the Boise River. And then this year we launched an Instagram as well. We just feel like for the average age of users that we're trying to share this message with, and then it's just become one of the most popular social media platforms that's free to use and we can post really quickly. We've got already more than 2,000 followers just in the last month or so. So that's been a really great tool. And then obviously we'll be working with our media partners. We've been doing a ton of stories recently. It's top of mind for everybody. So they'll be a huge part of us sharing information. And then we're working on some new video PSAs with Boise Fire and Ada County that we'll be sharing throughout the year. I mentioned park signage. We're using QR codes just to make it really easy for people. COVID really brought those back in style in a big way. And then the hazard photo gallery and in-river videos where we're basically going to show people how to safely float the Boise, why it's important to wear the right shoes, to have a life jacket, to have a paddle, all of those things so that throughout the season we can really be reaching people with the most up-to-date information. This is a look at the signage. We've really upped our game. We look super professional. This was all done in-house too, by the way, with our community engagement designers. So Jimmy knows well, they have an awesome team and they really took this to the next level. And I've got some stickers that I'll hand out today that we've handed out thousands already. They've been really, really popular. So I've already got requests for hats. The mayor wants a visor, so we're working on that for next season probably, but this is such a popular pastime and people love it and we don't want to take that fun away. We really want to try and just make the experience better all around so that people want to keep coming back and we can try to mitigate some of those rescues and things that fire has been seeing in the last few years. And then we've been meeting weekly as a team. So we actually had a meeting this morning. And the water managers for Lucky Peak have been meeting with us, which has been huge because we're getting updated information as best they can with their crystal ball of what they think the river's going to be doing. This afternoon, they're dropping to 2,000 CFS, which is right where Boise Fire can start their in-river hazard removal. So things are happening and we're getting closer to that checklist of when we could announce an opening date. I think the good news is we're all communicating and sharing the same information now. And once we have that opening date, it'll be a full court press sharing that information because I know people are really itching to get out on the river. It's not quite time yet, but we should be there hopefully by early July is our goal. So more to come. But we're also currently working with other stakeholders like ITD just to improve the signage when you're on the river, on bridges. That's where Boise Fire has seen a lot of issues is when people tie their rafts together, which you shouldn't do because then they get caught around those pillars and it's very hard to get out of. So just trying to really hit every visual point where people need some direction and have that overall visual package, I guess you could say, when people hit the river that looks consistent, it's recognizable, it's official information that's coming from our safety experts, which is Boise Fire. And last but not least, I mentioned it a little bit, but I even should have updated that as of the last hour. It's down to 2,000 CFS, I believe now, which as I mentioned, that's really the point where water levels have dropped enough that Boise Fire can see some of the things that have changed over the last year. So they plan to start getting out on the water within the next couple of days as staffing allows. And then any official float season start date will come from our team. So we're going to be meeting early next week to hopefully be able to decide when that will be. And we'll be updating the website in accordance with everything that we're deciding. We'll be posting on social media. So still through the weekend, even though temperatures are going up, we're going to be reminding people this is why you should stay off the water now. But we're really hopeful that by July we'll be up and running if everything works out. Yeah, that was my quick presentation, but so far it's been very well received. We're having about 2,000 visitors to the website a week, which is awesome. It means this is a resource people were clamoring for and is going to be used throughout the season. So I think we're all really excited and the partnership's been doing great. So Doug, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, Madam President, Commission members, this was something that the mayor's office asked us to get more involved in. And mainly from the communication standpoint, and it's not that Ada County Parks and Waterways wasn't doing a great job of communicating with the public. It was more of how do we do a better job in communicating with the public. And we do have a great model that we can look at, which is our Ridge to Rivers Consortium model. And that's really what we used to create the partnership. And Ada County, ironically, is also one of the partners in the Ridge to Rivers Consortium as well. And so Ada County is totally on board with how we have created a whole new marketing tool here. And the next step in this would just be conversations related to, do we have a funding mechanism, which Councilmember Halliburton, I believe you were in the meeting that we had with Ada County commissioners, and we discussed that there are costs that are associated with river rescue and the takeout, and getting the river ready to float with our forestry team and with our fire team as well. And so we're having those ongoing discussions. That'll be something that I think we'll be looking at in the next fiscal year. But I think there was a definite interest by the commission and by the council to look at that model, that Ridge to Rivers model, and how we continue to grow the model that we have now with our asset on the Boise River. So it's turned out great. I want to compliment Bonnie, Chloe, our team in the work that they've put into this. All this got done in literally just a few months with the fire team, with Joanne Zibble.
Yes.
Taking the lead on it in fire to create actually the website. And then the fire team has committed to keeping it updated. As Bonnie mentioned, doing real-time updates from the bank. If they see something that needs to be put into the system, they can actually go in and do it at that point in time. And seeing the number of people that are already cashing in on this with us is great. And it shows that there was a need definitely for it. And I think really the key is that one-stop shop. That, people would call us, hey, what's going on with the river float? Well, we don't really do the put in. That's Barber Park, that's Ada County. We have the takeout at Ann Morrison. And yeah, we rescue people if there's an issue on the river with our fire team. But so there's just kind of a mishmash of where really the way the whole system was put together. Now there's a consistent voice, a consistent process. And I think it's gonna, and again, as Bonnie said too, it's sort of piloting. So we're just getting our feet wet with this, this year.
You stole
And
my
then
joke.
we'll see how it transpires moving forward. But I couldn't be more proud of the work that's been done on this. And it's really gonna be a system I think our river users are going to really appreciate and use.
Thank you so much. This is such an exciting development, and I know we'll continue to serve our community for a long time. Any other comments or feedback?
Yes, is there a fishing component to it?
Not currently. We've gotten requests to add a parking, like real-time parking counter that I think will be what we try to tackle first next year. And then we also have been looping in Fish and Game as a part of our permitting process for when we mitigate hazards. They weigh in on all of that work as it relates to the fish and the environment and the water. But I definitely think this sets us up with a foundation to start adding more features for recreation along the river. And it's just a matter of kind of the resources that we have and how, in depth that we want to get. But I think the setup is there, and clearly the community wants this kind of information. So
Yeah.
it would just be a matter of working with Fish and Game on that.
Okay.
Madam President,
Please.
I just want to say super slick. It's really cool. It looks really good. And it has such, that is just definitely needed. And you guys did a great job. I also was curious, and I don't know, this might be a question for Doug, or who knows, maybe for Ada and services, but that increase in visitors from last year, is that new residents? Is that visitors to the city? I was just
Madam
curious about
President.
who that was.
Yeah, Madam President, commission members, I think it's a combination of both. I think it's mostly obviously people that live in the Treasure Valley, but they've actually done a little spying on license plates, and I think they have license plate documentation from every state in the country that has visited and has parked in the parking area. So, but I think the preponderance of folks are those that just live within the Treasure Valley, which is great because a lot of those folks don't prepare appropriately. That's why we started this process, is that the river rescues are becoming more and more abundant on the river. And I think it came a point in time where our fire team just said, we really need to do some more education. We don't want to see babies in diapers that are sitting without a life jacket on a raft. And we don't want to see mothers nursing babies while they're actually going down the river. And those are things that actually our fire team has seen. And they believe that that obviously is a very dangerous mix on the river. And so that really precipitated some of this need to get this website out and get the information out on the street too as well.
Very exciting. Thanks so much. We look forward to seeing when the float season starts, as I'm
Yes,
sure the whole
so
community
do
is. I believe the next item on our agenda is the Willow Lane Athletic Complex Wetland Peace Preserve Memorial Proposal. And then we have a presentation by Superintendent Larkwell.
Thank you for having me, Madam President, Commission members. So over the last 2 years, really, we have been working with, probably actually longer than that, to be honest. The Rotary Club is a good partner to the City of Boise Parks and Recreation. They have worked with us on a lot of volunteer efforts to improve native habitat for birds and other animals at Willow Lane, but also in the foothills. This particular proposal that we have before you today was received in the last 2 months and it has been worked on for a long time by John Lodel, and he's a member of the Rotary Club, to pay tribute to his wife who has passed and to share spacebar, right? Sorry, and to share kind of the things that the Rotary Club represents within our community with regard to inclusion and community service. So the Wetland Peace Preserve Memorial proposal that you will be asked to vote on today is, like I said, being proposed by the Rotary Clubs of the Treasure Valley. It is meant to be located in the Willow Lane Athletic Complex Park. I'll show you a picture here in a moment, in an area that's currently just turf that's being mowed, but doesn't really serve an open play purpose or a sports purpose. The memorial is planned to be named in honor of Pamela Lodel, who was a very engaged local volunteer and advocate who passed away in October of 2019. The Wetland Peace Preserve Memorial would integrate with the Greenbelt, would have walkable pathways that are ADA accessible, and some mindful signage regarding tolerance and inclusion and community service. So just to give you a sense of where the Rotary is proposing to place this memorial, as you can see, there's Willow Lane Athletic Complex with the softball fields there on the northern part of the screen, and then the wetland reserve that's right there next to the Boise River. That's actually a conservation easement. There are a lot of natural paths in there that folks have been enjoying for a long time, and that is in an area where the Rotary Club has been actively assisting with native habitat restoration for many years. So we have a long-term, long-standing relationship with them in this area. As I said, it's adjacent, the location of the proposed memorial is adjacent to an 18-acre wetland reserve. The yellow paths you see on there are existing natural paths. There's no proposal to change those existing paths. And then the red pathway is what is proposed to be new. It would be ADA accessible. Here is a rendering of what it would look like. Concrete paths that kind of, resemble a labyrinth or a sacred walk. The intent for that design aligns with the intent of the entire space. According to the Rotary, this is meant to be a place where people can either hop off the greenbelt and experience the wetlands, or experience a peaceful place where they can have interpretive signage that relates to local plants, wildlife, Rotary programs, and peace and tolerance. So I'll go through some of the renderings that Trademark has put together. I just want to acknowledge Alex Caves with Trademark and John Lowell are both here today. They have put so much time and effort into creating a proposal that is a very well thought through concept, and have also done a lot of work to engage with the neighborhood association and other stakeholders within this site, like Veolia and Idaho Power. It's a thoughtful proposal that's before you today. So as I said, there's a couple entrances proposed. One would be the main entrance, which is on the left, which is that memorial stone would just pay tribute to the Rotary. There would be bike racks, seating, some aesthetic elements, some interpretive signage, and then again that labyrinth-like pathway with what the Rotary is describing as peace poles along the way to promote mindfulness and have people just think about how we treat one another. Here is another rendering of the main entrance. As I said, stone benches, a couple of mutt stations. There is no proposal to change any existing uses within the park or within that wetland area relating to bikes or dogs on or off leash. It's all meant to stay the same, but the peace walk itself would encourage people to put their bikes on the bike rack and walk through the area and the space. Just a couple more conceptual design illustrations. And here's the Greenbelt entrance, which would be on the other side. Pam's memorial monument there in the middle. And again, some signage and benches and bike racks so that folks can interact with this space in the way it was intended to be utilized. Wanted to provide some examples of what those amenities would look like, the peace pole, the stone sign. Again, John and Alex have done such a great job of really thinking through what the feel of this place would be like, what the tribute to Pam would feel like within the space, and how the Rotary's work within the wetland can also be incorporated into this memorial proposal. And as part of your evaluation of whether or not this memorial suits the city and suits the space, John and Alex have put together a proposed budget so you can understand kind of the scope of work that would be needed here. And as you can see, this is not a small project. This is not a small investment. I think that there's a pretty strong intent for this to be something of a destination for folks on the west side of town, similar to destinations we have similar to this in the downtown area. So we are recommending that Commission approve the Wetland Peace Preserve Memorial. And as we move through this process, this is just kind of step one in terms of how the city would engage. The next step would be working through a development and donation agreement so that the Rotary Club could go forth and hire contractors and fabricate the amenities and then donate the finalized memorial to the city. And that's all I had prepared today. Happy to answer any questions, and I'm hopeful if I can't answer them, then maybe John or Alex can as representatives of the Rotary and the design firm.
Open the floor to any questions or comments.
Madam President, Commissioners. Sure, I have a question. First of all, I love that logo. It's a gorgeous logo. And yeah, really beautiful design. I actually went to the site today and I found it. And when you showed that one on the graphic, I'm like, yes, I was there. So it's interesting to visualize what will be there after kind of seeing what's there now. And there's definitely some piles, maybe old sand piles or something there. I mean, will the area, I guess my question is, the area, I mean, there's the main walkway where that area on the left with the big stone pillar. That whole area of unmowed, I'll call it, is, will it be mowed? Will it be tended to? Because I worry about all those beautiful plants that have been planted there. They're currently being kind of suppressed by the wheatgrass there. So I just wondered if that's part of this or not.
Madam President, Commission member, yeah, I appreciate your concerns. I know the Rotary has put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to try and get some native plant establishment in this area. As I said, this is part of a conservation easement.
Yeah.
And so the work that we do in there is really meant to establish, wetland habitat and native plant species. So there is no plan to mow that area necessarily. I guess we could incorporate some management activities in the future that would help potentially those native seedlings by weed whacking around them and that sort of thing. But the intent is for it to be a natural and kind of wild experience. And I know during the outreach that the Rotary and John and Alex have done with the Veterans Park Neighborhood Association, that was very important to them, that the wetland area and the natural areas remain such. And so that's why you see, these kind of stubs where the concrete paths would end and then the natural paths would continue.
Yeah, no, I agree. The invasive plant botanist in me is kind of going a little nuts, so, because that's actually one area you might be able to restore more naturally if you can get rid of the wheatgrass, but it's a huge undertaking to do. So it'd be just cool to have a future plan out there to do just that in that area, because it actually might be successful there. And the foothills and stuff, there's so many places you can't do anything about the wheatgrass.
Definitely something, Commissioner, that we can explore with
And
our volunteer organization.
Yeah, and I did read the comment from the other HOA on those two stubs there. I kind of see the point there because it doesn't really go into anywhere, but I was just wondering if there's future plans, and I kind of see the point, more kind of maybe interpretive trail through that.
Madam President, Commission members, we certainly can take your advice in that and look a little deeper into that. We did do a similar kind of mitigating project, Sarah can speak more to it, in the Hyatt Hidden Lakes Reserve, where we went in and mitigated some of the invasive species we had there that was competing with some of the natural areas that had been planted there. So certainly that's something maybe we can certainly look at.
And improving access to those places is really helpful. So pathways like this can help, get more volunteers out to the site. Maybe people who are more comfortable, accessing locations from a concrete path versus,
Yeah, I mean, right now,
bushwhacking.
it's not welcoming at all.
Good point.
Yeah, it's not welcoming.
There is a BMX bike.
Yeah, there is a, yeah.
It's just north.
Yeah.
So yes, this will make it more welcoming. Yeah, for sure.
And Madam President, Commission members, I also would love to make a comment about the Rotary and what a great partner they've been. If you notice that we have a plaza inside Julia Davis Park that they fundraised for to put in. We also have a plaza area in the newest section on the south side of the Greenbelt between Fairview and Maine up to Americana. There's a plaza area as well that they fundraised for and built basically it's a resting area. If you're on the Greenbelt, come through that 1 mile stretch through there. So they're a good group that gets stuff done and a great partner. And I think this is a great use of that area that we have at Woodland, which is a very, very popular stretch of the Greenbelt and a very popular park, particularly during the summertime with all the softball activity we have going on out there.
Madam President, Commissioners, two questions. Is it funded privately?
Madam President, Commissioner Rayburn, yes, the Rotary is proposing as part of this memorial to fund the completion of the design, the development of the amenity, and then donate that to the city. So there would be no city funds as a part of the proposal.
And secondly, it doesn't look like it's a wetland now. Is that correct?
The area in which this is proposed?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you are correct, Commissioner Rayburn. The area in which this is proposed is just an area of turf that's mowed and not a wetland.
So it's honoring wetlands, but not being in a wetland.
The adjacent natural area is a wetland. And that's where the Rotary has done a lot of volunteer work. And so they're kind of combining their commitment to natural habitat and community service with a memorial of well-loved member and advocate.
The sighting also had to do with floodplain potential there, is that right?
Yeah, Madam President, the sighting had to do with that, and also a lot of feedback that they got from, the outreach they had done with the neighbors. And so there was, the proposal that came to us originally a year ago was much different than what's before you today, based on that feedback, based on the Rotary's willingness to try and work with the surrounding community and the neighbors to find something that would fit.
Any further comments or questions? Okay, if not, I entertain a motion.
Okay, I am going to recommend that we approve the Wetland Peace Preserve Memorial as submitted by Rotary Club of Treasure.
Well, is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I believe the motion passes. Wonderful. I've been informed we don't require an executive session this afternoon. All right, and in that case, I move us forward and ask for a motion for adjournment.
I motion we adjourn.
Madam President,
Yes.
just really quick, I couldn't quite tell, I maybe thought I saw a hand pop up in the back. John, were you trying to say something?
No, I'm listening and I'd love to say thank you.
Oh, yes, thank you for pointing that out. We do, we so appreciate everyone's participation and coming before us, as well as good work.
All right, I didn't want to take a venue away in case you wanted one. I know I did.
I think we had a second. Yep. Okay, so we are adjourned. Oh, all in favor, we do have to vote, sorry.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed?